Welcome to the Memory Scope channel. Be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out more videos like this one. Location unknown, 1928. An entire orchestra performs while dressed as Bibendum the Michelin Man recording for the Michelin Hour radio show. These musicians played popular numbers and light classics while encased in tiers of white inflated rubber tires. Global mid-20th century before digital streaming took over vinyl. Album art was a crucial marketing tool. These vintage covers display the bold typography and surreal imagery used to capture the listener's imagination long before the music played. New York City, 2001. A chilling image by Matthew McDermott captures the chaos of September 11th amidst the debris and smoke of Lower Manhattan. This photograph preserves a moment of national tragedy that forever altered the course of history. Hollywood, 1961. Over 100 black cats line up for a horror movie audition while a professional feline landed the lead. 7 others were selected for publicity photos based solely on the mean look in their eyes. London, 2022. The world mourns the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, reigning for 70 years. She served as a symbol of stability through decades of massive social change, leaving behind a legacy that spanned 2 centuries. Dunstan, England. 1900 workers at Taylor Pallister Company pose for a group portrait. These men formed the backbone of the industrial age, laboring in heavy manufacturing long before modern safety standards or automation changed the factory floor. Global 1980s. This decade is remembered as the golden era of flamboyant freestyle skiing athletes, performed aerial stunts and balletic moves on the slopes wearing neon gear that defined the vibrant and rebellious spirit of the sport. Paris, 1915. Actress Jeanne Roques, known as Musidora, strikes a pose for the silent serial Les Vampires. Dressed in her iconic black silk bodysuit, she became an early archetype of the femme fatale in cinematic history. Menominee, Wisconsin, 1905. A yearbook photo depicts student Magdalena Sarah. Junk acting as a stern teacher, lashing a boy staged for a class prophecy theme. The image humorously imagines her future discipline methods in a rural schoolhouse. Chicago, 1902. A diagram from Vaught's Practical Character Reader illustrates the pseudoscience of phrenology. The author claimed that the shape of a person's skull could reveal their personality, a theory now thoroughly debunked by modern psychology. Jackson, Wyoming. 1955. Skiers brave the heights on the Snow King chairlifts before high-speed gondolas. These single-seat open lifts carried outdoor enthusiasts up the steep slopes, offering precarious views of the rugged Teton landscape below their dangling skis. Hollywood, 1928. Conrad Veidt portrays the disfigured Gwynplaine. In The Man Who Laughs His Permanent Grotesque Grin, in this silent film classic served as the primary visual inspiration for the creation of the iconic villain, the Joker. London, 1860. Photographer Charles Percy Pickering documents the 5 stages of inebriation using a studio setting. He captured the progressive loss of dignity and coordination caused by alcohol, creating a humorous yet cautionary visual narrative. California, 1917. Loggers pause with a cross-cut saw against the massive trunk of a giant sequoia. The sheer scale of the tree dwarfs the men, highlighting the immense natural resources harvested during the early logging boom. New York City, 1932. Photographer Thomas Kelly balances on a steel beam to capture the construction of Rockefeller Center, taken by Charles Ebbets. This metaphoto reveals the daring heights photographers climbed to document the rising Manhattan skyline. St. Petersburg, 1914. The mystic Grigory Rasputin sits surrounded by his devoted female admirers. His influence over the Romanov family and his scandalous reputation among the Russian elite signaled the crumbling authority of the Tsar before the revolution. United Kingdom, 1937. A concerned mother pins a safety notice onto her son's back as he prepares for a bicycle trial. The sign warns other drivers to keep their distance, showing that parental anxiety is truly timeless. New York City, 2001. Russian President Vladimir Putin places a wreath at the Ground Zero site just months after the September 11th attacks. This gesture of solidarity marked a brief period of diplomatic unity against global terrorism. Miami, 1941. Waitress Ruth Lee stands beside a Chinese flag while sunbathing following the attack on Pearl Harbor. She displayed the banner to distinguish herself from the Japanese, hoping to avoid misdirected hostility and racial harassment. Madrid, 1975. Chilean dictator Augusto Pinochet sits beside Imelda Marcos at the funeral of Francisco Franco. This gathering of authoritarian figures marked the end of a fascist era in Spain while dictatorships continued to grip other regions. Los Angeles, 1958. Singer Nat King Cole relaxes with his family in their new home, despite facing burning crosses and poisoned pets from racist neighbors. In the wealthy white neighborhood, the family refused to be intimidated or move. Stoke Park, 1964. Sean Connery teaches Tanya Mallet how to swing a golf club on the set of Goldfinger. Between takes, the James Bond actor relaxed on the course where the film's iconic high-stakes match took place. United States, 1922. Nellie D. Lane billed as the world's heaviest woman poses with Major Mite, the smallest man. These contrasting performers toured together, capitalizing on public fascination with physical extremes during the golden age of circuses. Ann Arbor, 1890. The University of Michigan football team poses for a season photo looking more like street fighters than athletes. These unpadded players pioneered the early brutal version of the gridiron game that became a national obsession. London, 1935. A lamplighter ascends his ladder in Finsbury Park to ignite the gas street lamps as electricity spread across the city. This daily ritual marked the twilight of a profession that once illuminated the Victorian nights. Farnborough, 1953. The prototype Handley Page Victor HP-80 makes its debut with its futuristic crescent wing design. This strategic bomber was built to carry nuclear payloads representing the cutting edge of Cold War aviation technology. Jamaica, 1970s. Reggae icon Bob Marley speaks passionately about his love for soccer for the musician. The sport was a universe unto itself, requiring immense skill and offering a sense of freedom that mirrored his musical philosophy. Global 2022, the world bids farewell to Nichelle Nichols, the actress who broke barriers as Lieutenant Uhura on Star Trek. Her groundbreaking role inspired generations of women and people of color to pursue careers in science and space exploration. Australia, 1965. Homesick Welsh immigrant Brian Robson hates his life down under, but cannot afford the flight home in a desperate bid to return to Cardiff. He mails himself in a wooden crate, enduring a harrowing journey as air cargo. Hollywood, 1931. Three actresses pose as Dracula's brides for the Universal horror classic. Though uncredited, Geraldine Dvorak, Dorothy Tree, and Cornelia Thaw provided the eerie, silent menace that helped define the vampire lore of the pre-code silver screen. United States, 1945. A relieved mother stands proudly with her 8 sons, all of whom served in World War II, in a miraculous stroke of fortune. Every single one returned home safe and sound, defying the grim statistics of the global conflict. China, 1938. Guerrilla fighter Cheng Benhua stands tall and smiles defiantly moments before her execution by Japanese forces. Her fearless demeanor in the face of death became a lasting symbol of resistance during the brutal Second Sino-Japanese War. United States, 1920. A young boy sits on a porch, strumming a banjo alongside his loyal dog. This candid snapshot captures the simple rural pastimes of early 20th century America, where music was often a homemade source of daily joy. Tehran, 1979. Iranian students flood the streets to celebrate the victory of the Islamic Revolution, holding portraits of Ayatollah Khomeini. They cheer for a new era that would fundamentally transform the nation's political and cultural landscape forever. Camp David, 1991. President George H.W. Bush shares a sled with Arnold Schwarzenegger during a winter retreat. This light-hearted moment between the political leader and the action star underscores the intersection of celebrity culture and high-level politics in the 90s. Egypt, 1922. A rope seal remains intact on the doors of King Tutankhamun's shrine, knotted over. 3,000 years ago, this fragile bond guarded the pharaoh's rest until archaeologists finally broke the silence of the ancient tomb. Cuba, 1960. Revolutionaries Che Guevara and Fidel Castro share a relaxed moment during a fishing trip away from the battlefield and political podiums. This image captures the camaraderie between the two men who reshaped Latin American history. United States, 1950s. A woman dresses in her finest coat and hat just to visit the grocery store. This daily routine reflects the strict social standards of the era, where public appearances required formal attire regardless of the occasion. Hollywood, 1942. A 19-year-old Ava Gardner poses for an MGM employment questionnaire, even in this simple administrative photo. The striking beauty that would soon make her one of cinema's greatest stars is undeniably present and captivating. New York City, 2024. A side-by-side comparison shows the Empire State Building in 1941. And today, while the skyline around it has grown taller and denser, the Art Deco masterpiece remains an enduring icon of American architectural ambition. Rome, 1871. A panoramic view captures the Eternal City as it becomes the capital of the newly unified Kingdom of Italy. Ancient ruins stand alongside emerging modern structures, marking the transition from papal rule to a secular national center. Moscow, 1941. An unauthorized photograph captures a shaken Joseph Stalin receiving news of the German invasion. The dictator's rare display of vulnerability betrays the shock of the betrayal that would plunge the Soviet Union into a brutal war. United States, 1961. NASA scientists stand before a massive chalkboard covered in complex equations before digital computers became powerful. These brilliant minds used chalk and manual calculation to plot the trajectories that would eventually take humanity to the moon. Paris, 1914. Crowds gather to welcome the Mona Lisa back to the Louvre after a 3-year absence. The theft had turned the painting into a global sensation, cementing its status as the most famous artwork in the world. France, 1860. An elderly veteran of the Napoleonic Wars poses with his wife for an ambrotype wearing the St. Helena medal. He stands as a living link to the era of emperors and conquests that reshaped Europe. Alabama, 1910. A young boy named Shorpy Higginbotham carries heavy buckets of grease at the Bessie mine. Though he claimed to be 14, his small stature reveals the harsh reality of child labor in the industrial American South. Syracuse, 1966. Cars lie buried under massive drifts during the blizzard of '66. This record-breaking storm paralyzed the city, dumping feet of snow and forcing residents to dig out their homes and vehicles in freezing temperatures. United States, 1948. A chart illustrates the shrinking size of the donut hole over 2 decades as automation improved and dough recipes changed. Bakers maximized the treat surface area, giving customers more pastry and less empty space. Germany, 1884. A colorized portrait shows a young Albert Einstein at age 5. Even as a child, the intense gaze of the future genius hints at the inquisitive mind that would one day unravel the mysteries of the universe. London, 1916. Suffragette Florence Norman poses on her motorized autoped scooter, a birthday gift from her husband. This early personal vehicle symbolized the independence and modernity embraced by women fighting for their right to vote. San Francisco, 1934. Workers balance on steel beams during the early construction of the Golden Gate Bridge, amidst swirling fog and dangerous heights. These laborers forged the orange span that would become one of the world's most recognized landmarks. London, 1956. Marilyn Monroe greets Queen Elizabeth II at a film premiere. Both women were 30 years old and at the height of their fame, representing 2 very different worlds of royalty, one of Hollywood, the other of Windsor. Czechoslovakia, 1960s. A man poses cynically with a half-eaten loaf of bread before a propaganda banner. The slogan promises a communist paradise, but the stark reality of daily life and food shortages tells a very different story. Newcastle, 1902. 14-year-old George Byrne faces the camera for a mugshot. After stealing brushes, his terrified expression captures the harshness of the Edwardian justice system, where even minor petty crimes by children were met with severe punishment. Leavenworth, 1903. Prisoners Will West and William West sit side by side. Though unrelated, their nearly identical looks and names confused prison clerks, proving the fallibility of physical measurements and accelerating the adoption of fingerprint identification. Illinois, 1939. Robert Wadlow, the tallest man in recorded history, towers over a crowd at nearly 9 feet tall, suffering from hyperplasia. His gentle nature and immense size made him a celebrity before his tragic death at 22. New York City, 1918. Ecstatic crowds filled the streets to celebrate the end of World War I. Ticker tape rains down as the city rejoices in the armistice marking the conclusion of the conflict that was supposed to end all wars. Tinian, 1945. Physicist Harold Agnew smiles while holding the plutonium core of the Fat Man atomic bomb. This small metal box contained the destructive power that would soon level the city of Nagasaki and end the war in the Pacific. Florida, 2001. Chief of Staff Andy Card whispers the news of the 9/11 attacks to President George W. Bush. In a Florida classroom, the president's expression shifts as he realizes the nation is under attack, changing his presidency forever. Russia, 1910. A peasant father stands with his sons in a rural village dressed in traditional bath shoes and tunics. They represent a way of life that would soon be swept away by war, revolution, and modernization. Hollywood, 1947. Rita Hayworth poses next to her Lincoln Continental. The screen siren's glamour is matched only by the sleek lines of the luxury car epitomizing the golden age of American cinema and automotive design. California, 1891. The massive Mark Twain. Sequoia crashes to the ground. The Army felled this 1,300-year-old giant not for lumber, but simply to ship slab sections to museums to prove such colossal trees actually existed. Florence, 1940s. Michelangelo's David stands encased in a protective brick silo to save the Renaissance masterpiece from Allied bombing raids, and artillery fire curators entombed the marble giant in this temporary claustrophobic fortress of masonry. Sydney, 1972. The Concorde sweeps low over the harbor in a breathtaking fly-past decades before its retirement. This supersonic marvel promised a future of global travel where distance was conquered by speed and elegant engineering. Japan, 1922. Albert Einstein and his wife Elsa arrived to a hero's welcome. Thousands gathered outside their hotel just to see the physicist wave, proving his celebrity had transcended science to become a global phenomenon. Sydney, 1934. Hungry school children line up for soup and bread at Belmore North Public School. This stark image captures the global reach of the Great Depression, where even young students relied on charity for daily survival. Arizona, 1908. A photographer and his assistant balance precariously on a rock ledge without safety ropes. They risk a fatal plunge into the Grand Canyon, driven by the obsession to capture the perfect landscape shot. United States 1900s children play on towering, unpadded gymnastics equipment long before safety regulations and rubber matting. These steel jungle gyms offered a thrilling but dangerous environment where resilience was learned through scrapes, bruises, and daring. Climbs. Chicago, 1970s. A man rides a custom chopper bicycle with extended handlebars influenced by motorcycle culture. These modified bikes became a symbol of urban cool, allowing riders to cruise the city streets with rebellious flair. Washington, D.C., 1865. A comparison of Abraham Lincoln's portraits reveals the brutal toll of the Civil War. In just 4 years, the president aged decades, his face etched with the deep sorrow of a divided nation. France, 1900 shepherds in the land's region stride across marshy grasslands on tall stilts. This unique adaptation allowed them to monitor their flocks from a height and traverse the wet terrain without soaking their feet. Cologne, 1954. A Heinkel cabine microcar navigates the post-war streets, born from aircraft engineering. This bubble-windowed vehicle offered affordable mobility to a recovering Germany, maximizing efficiency in an era of scarce resources and rebuilding cities. Hollywood, 1989, Bruce Willis and Demi Moore arrive at the Academy Awards as one of the era's ultimate power couples. Their red carpet appearance captured the high-voltage glamour and media fascination of late 80s celebrity culture. Atlantic City, 1924. Ruth Malcolmson smiles as the newly crowned Miss America. Her victory represented the beauty ideals of the Roaring Twenties, a time when the pageant was becoming a major cultural fixture in the nation. United States, 1980s. Two children focus intensely on a game of Pong. This simple tennis simulation sparked the video game revolution, transforming living rooms into digital arcades and captivating a generation with bouncing pixelated squares. United States, 1961. A car cruises with glowing illuminated tires developed by Goodyear. These translucent synthetic rubber wheels contained light bulbs, a retro-futurist experiment that dazzled onlookers but never quite made it to mass production. Calabria, 1920s, a young girl in traditional dress harvests grapes along the Ionian coast. Her attire reflects centuries of regional culture, preserving a heritage that remained vibrant even as the modern world began to encroach. Paris, 1914. The windmill of the Moulin Rouge stands as a beacon of bohemian nightlife on the eve of war. This legendary cabaret remained the epicenter of can-can dancing and artistic indulgence in the French capital. France, 1870. The intricate wrought iron railing of Chantilly Castle displays the mastery of the Moreau brothers, designed by architect Honoré Daumet. This metalwork combines structural function with the delicate elegance of fine art. Maryland, 1963. John F. Kennedy Jr. waits expectantly for his father's helicopter captured just a month before the assassination. This image of the young boy at Camp David is a heartbreaking snapshot of innocence before tragedy. Giza, 1931. Egyptian men watch in awe as the Graf Zeppelin floats above the Great Pyramids. This meeting of ancient stone wonders and modern German engineering. They created a surreal contrast between the past and the future. Manhattan, 1660, a map of New Amsterdam, is superimposed over modern New York. This visualization reveals the humble Dutch colonial roots buried beneath the skyscrapers, tracing the original street grid of the city that never sleeps. Papua New Guinea, 1886. A koyari treehouse sits high in the canopy, built for defense and safety. These elevated homes allowed the indigenous people to live securely above the jungle floor, blending architecture with the environment. Rome 300 BCE A cross-section reveals the complex layering of a Roman road built to last for centuries. These engineering marvels use deep foundations and paved surfaces to connect an empire, facilitating trade and military movement. Los Angeles, 1945. Comedy legends Groucho Marx and Lucille Ball Goof, off at a radio studio before television dominance, these titans of humor sharpened their wit on the airwaves, bringing laughter to a war-weary nation. Los Angeles, 1920s. An aerial view captures the vast scale of the Hollywood Bowl carved into the hillside. This open-air amphitheater became a cultural landmark, hosting concerts under the stars for thousands of eager spectators. Scandinavia, 1960s. Rows of prams sit outside in the winter chill, believing fresh air boosted immunity. Parents often left bundled babies to nap outdoors, a cultural health practice that persists in northern countries today. United States, 1964. An advertisement showcases an early car phone with a rotary dial before voice commands and touchscreens. Drivers had to physically spin the dial to make a call, a dangerous but luxurious technological novelty. United Kingdom, 1890s. A woman enjoys a quiet cup of tea in a garden. This peaceful moment captures the Victorian ideal of leisure, where a simple pause with a warm drink offered respite from the industrial world. London, 1955. Patrons gather for a pint in a traditional pub with its dark wood and etched glass. The local public house served as the communal living room for neighborhoods rebuilding after the Blitz. Algeria, 1949. An old nail woman displays the traditional tattoos of a dancer. Her markings and jewelry are not just ornamentation, but symbols of her tribe's identity and her specific role within the cultural community. United States, 1982. A skateboarder catches air in a concrete bowl. As the sport moved from sidewalks to empty swimming pools, it developed an aggressive, rebellious style that would define the youth culture of the decade. American West, 1880s. A cowgirl poses with her rifle and fringed buckskins, far from the damsels of fiction. Women on the frontier were often rugged survivalists, capable of handling firearms and livestock in a harsh environment. Philadelphia, 1876. The Statue of Liberty's torch arms stands alone at the Centennial Exposition. Sculptor Frederick Bartholdi poses with the fragment, using the display to raise excitement and funds for the monument's eventual completion. New York City, 1980s. Members of the Guardian Angels patrol a graffiti-covered subway car wearing their signature red berets. These citizen vigilantes stepped in to combat rising crime rates when the city's transit system felt unsafe. United States, 1910. A carriage is pulled by a team of 2 turkeys. This bizarre experiment in poultry-powered transport highlights the eccentric tinkering of the era, though it unsurprisingly failed to replace the horse. Ancient Egypt, 1323 BC, crafted from leather gold and fayanced these sandals. Once protected the feet of Pharaoh Tutankhamun, they showcase the incredible craftsmanship of the 18th dynasty, preserving the delicate footsteps of the famous boy king for eternity. Lawrence, Kansas, 1928. Dr. James Naismith, the inventor of basketball, enjoys a playful moment practicing with his wife decades after hanging up the first peach baskets. The father of the sport proves he still loves the game. Japan, 1941. As tensions escalated in the Pacific, vivid anti-British propaganda filled the streets. These illustrations depicted Western powers as monsters, rallying the public and setting the psychological stage for the impending conflict of World War II. Hayward, California, 1942. Tags hanging from their coats, members of the Mochida family wait for a bus to an internment camp. This heartbreaking scene captures the uncertainty faced by thousands of Japanese Americans forcibly removed from their homes. Arizona, 1904. Deep within the canyon, Dechelli Navajo riders traverse the landscape in this photograph by Edward Curtis. The image captures the enduring spirit of the indigenous people against the towering walls of their ancestral lands. Da Nang, Vietnam, 1965. A young private waits anxiously on the beach during the Marine landing. His expression reflects the mix of anticipation and dread that defined the experience of soldiers arriving in a complex and escalating war. London, 1956. 2 icons collide as Queen Elizabeth II meets Marilyn Monroe, both 30 years old. This rare moment bridges the gap between Hollywood royalty and the British monarchy, capturing the glamour and elegance of the mid-century era. Tehran, 1979. Over 100,000 women marched through the streets to protest the new hijab law. This massive demonstration marked a pivotal moment in the revolution, symbolizing a fierce fight for personal freedom amidst a changing landscape. North Atlantic, 1987. Recovered from the crushing depths, this old currency rests as a haunting artifact of the Titanic. These preserved banknotes offer a tangible connection to the passengers who carried their wealth and dreams onto the ill-fated liner. The Moon, 1969. On July 20th, Buzz Aldrin walks across the lunar surface, leaving footprints in the dust. This image represents the pinnacle of human achievement, as humanity looked up to the heavens and finally touched another world. Africa, 1950s. Literary giant. Ernest Hemingway steps into the ring for a boxing match, known for his adventurous lifestyle as much as his writing. This moment captures the raw masculine energy that fueled his most famous novels. New York City, 1936, suspended high above the streets, a cameraman films a window washer on the Empire State Building. This dizzying perspective highlights the daring nature of early documentation and the everyday bravery required to maintain the city skyline. Tarawa, 1943. Amidst the horrors of the Pacific Theater, a U.S. Marine gently feeds a kitten. This tender moment offers a glimpse of humanity and compassion, surviving against the backdrop of the war's most brutal battles. Uzbekistan, 1936. Captured by Alexander Rodchenko, an Uzbek woman stares boldly into the lens. This striking portrait utilizes dynamic angles to document the changing social landscape of the Soviet Union, blending artistic modernism with cultural documentation. Soviet Union, 1987. This futuristic prototype, known as the Sphinx, envisioned a revolutionary smart home system resembling a sci-fi prop. It demonstrated Soviet ambitions to merge design and technology, though the system never reached mass production. New York, 1945. A vehicle struggles through towering walls of snow in upstate New York. This incredible winter scene illustrates the sheer power of nature as residents and travelers attempted to navigate roads buried deep under a massive blizzard. Memphis, 1955. Before he became the king of rock and roll, a young Elvis Presley poses with his father Vernon. The image captures a quiet family moment before fame would forever change their lives and American music. Los Angeles, 1915. A mail carrier and her horse pause during their route in California. This image from a bygone era highlights the rustic nature of early postal delivery long before mechanization transformed the sprawling city into a metropolis. New York City, 1932. Shadows stretch across the floor of the RCA building at Rockefeller Center. This atmospheric shot captures the weary solitude of late nights in the city that never sleeps, reflecting the tireless ambition of the industrial age. Burbank, California, 1964. The original model of the Starship Enterprise sits outside the production shop. This scale model would soon warp onto television screens, launching a franchise that inspired viewers to boldly go where no one has gone before. Windsor, 1923. Workers carefully pack Queen Mary's massive dollhouse for transport. This exquisite miniature residence, complete with electricity and running water, remains a masterpiece of craftsmanship designed to showcase the finest British artistry of the 20th century. Friedrichshafen, 1930s workers. Balance on the framework of the Hindenburg nearly 200 feet up. This dizzying view reveals the massive scale of the largest airship ever built, a marvel of engineering that would eventually end in tragedy. Paris, 1920. A little girl offers a posy of lilies to a stoic police officer at the Porte Saint-Denis. This charming interaction captures a moment of innocence and peace, returning to the streets after the Great War. Egypt, 1961. Fashion photographer F.C. Gundlach captures a stunning image against the ancient pyramids, the juxtaposition of modern high fashion. With eternal stone monuments creates a striking visual dialogue between the fleeting present and the enduring past. Colorado, 1880. Pioneer Ellen Elliott arrives in the West after losing her husband and children in England. Her journey represents the resilience of thousands who sought a fresh start in the rugged American frontier despite overwhelming personal tragedy. Hale County, Texas, 1900s, Dr. E.M. Harp and his wife stand before their homestead on the High Plains. As one of the first physicians in the region, he brought essential medical care to the isolated families settling the rugged frontier. Cannes, France, 1994. A young Cameron Diaz lights up the Cannes Film Festival during her breakout year, fresh from her role in The Mask. This moment marks the beginning of her ascent to becoming one of Hollywood's biggest stars. Alabama, 1969. Werner von Braun stands proudly in front of the massive F-1 engines of the Saturn V rocket. This image captures the engineer with the machine that would finally carry Apollo 11 astronauts to the moon. Siberia, 1908. A massive explosion flattens over 2,000 square kilometers of remote forest, known as the Tunguska event. This mysterious cosmic impact left no crater, puzzling scientists and sparking theories about asteroids, comets, and airbursts for decades. Global, 1966, a massive shipment of 62,000 punch cards represents just 5 megabytes of data. This visual demonstrates the incredible physical volume required for early computing a task that would take 4 days just to load. United States, 1960s, a classic. Kodak Photomat kiosk stands ready for drive-to-film development. These tiny golden-roofed huts were once icons of suburban life, marking a time when seeing your photos meant waiting days rather than swiping a screen. Turin, Italy, 1920s. The roof of the Lingato building features a fully functional test track. This architectural marvel allowed Fiat to test cars directly above the factory floor, blending industrial utility with a bold futuristic vision of urban manufacturing. Chicago, 1930s, an innovative elevator parking lot stacks cars vertically to save space in the city. This early solution to urban congestion highlights the creative engineering attempts to accommodate the popularity of the automobile in crowded metropolises. Indiana, 1908. The farm of Belle Gunness becomes a crime scene after the discovery of multiple bodies known as the Black Widow. This serial killer used matrimonial ads to lure victims, leaving a legacy of mystery and murder. London, 1945. A young boy clutches a stuffed animal amidst the ruins of the Blitz. This heartbreaking image serves as a reminder of the innocent lives shattered by war capturing, the vulnerability of children amidst the rubble. Bangladesh, 2020s. A chaotic tangle of wires hangs precariously over a busy street. This visual nightmare of cable management highlights the rapid, often unregulated infrastructure growth in developing cities where connectivity is prioritized over safety or aesthetics. Lake Michigan, 1990s comedian Chris Farley shares a joyful moment with his father on the beach. This candid photo captures the warmth and humor of the beloved star, showing the family bond that grounded him before his untimely death. New York, 1924. Workers tighten a massive bolt during the construction of the Holland Tunnel. These laborers toiled in compressed air environments to build the first mechanically ventilated underwater tunnel, a critical link connecting Manhattan to New Jersey. United States, 1891. The Yacht America winner of the first America's Cup sails. After a refit, this vessel launched the most prestigious trophy in sailing, symbolizing a legacy of competitive maritime design that continues to challenge sailors today. Miami, 1964. The Beatles playfully pretend to be knocked out by Cassius Clay. This meeting of legends occurred just days before Clay became Muhammad Ali, merging the worlds of music and sports at the height of their explosion. United States, 1924. Police photograph a woman arrested for serving alcohol from a flask hidden in her boot. This clever invention, known as a bootlegger's life preserver, showcases the ingenuity used to defy prohibition laws during the Roaring Twenties. United Kingdom, 1910s. A couple poses with their dog balancing skillfully on their shoulders. This delightful acrobatic feat captures a moment of light-hearted fun, showing that the bond between humans and their pets has always inspired playful tricks. Jamaica, 1980. Reggae legend Bob Marley enjoys a relaxed game of ping pong captured shortly before his death. This candid image reveals the competitive yet playful spirit of the musician who brought Caribbean rhythm to the world stage. Hollywood, 1950s. Marilyn Monroe playfully peeks out from behind a cat in this whimsical portrait. The image strips away the bombshell persona, revealing a softer, more intimate side of the actress who captivated the world with her charm. Montreal, 1976. The muscular legs of 14-year-old Nadia Comaneci prepare for history. These limbs powered the first perfect 10 in Olympic gymnastics, redefining the limits of the sport and turning a young Romanian girl into an icon. Washington, D.C., 1963. Former First Lady Jackie Kennedy relaxes with a cigarette while pregnant. This private moment contrasts with her polished public image, reflecting the social norms of the era before the dangers of smoking were fully understood. Edinburgh, 1998. J.K. Rowling writes intently. In a local cafe, in this modest setting, the author crafted the magical world of Harry Potter, unaware that her story would soon spark a global phenomenon and define modern literature. United Kingdom, 1930s. Two women confidently pose astride their motorcycles, a crank drive, and a new imperial twin. This image challenges gender norms of the time, celebrating the freedom and independence that the open road offered to female riders. United States, 1930s. African American children play in front of a makeshift shack in a Hooverville. This stark image documents the severe poverty of the Great Depression, where marginalized communities were hit hardest by the economic collapse. Berlin, 1989. Jubilant crowds gather as the Berlin Wall finally falls. This historic event marked the end of the Cold War division as citizens from East and West reunited to tear down the concrete symbol of oppression. New York City, 1930. A construction worker casually walks a steel beam at 40 Wall Street without safety harnesses. These skywalkers built the city skyline, risking their lives daily to erect the 71-story monuments of the modern age. Namibia, modern day. The lower Ugab Valley reveals spectacular tectonic folds in the earth. These twisted rock formations tell a geological story, millions of years old, showing the immense pressure that buckles the planet's crust to create such landscapes. Sacramento, 1890. A horse-drawn carriage moves through the bustling streets of the Victorian-era city. This photograph captures the transition of the California capital from a gold rush boomtown into a settled architectural center of the American West. London, 1966. Muhammad Ali stands on a street corner, exuding confidence and charisma. At the height of his career, the heavyweight champion was not just a boxer, but a global cultural figure who commanded attention wherever he went. San Francisco, 1960. Debbie Reynolds and her daughter Carrie Fisher wait for a cable car. This sweet family moment captures the bond between two Hollywood legends long before Carrie would trade the city for a galaxy far away. United States, 1980s. Actress Phoebe Cates poses for a portrait during the height of her fame. Known for her roles in Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Gremlins, she became one of the most recognizable faces of 80s culture. Seattle, 1963. A young Kurt Russell kicks Elvis Presley in the shin for a scene in It Happened at the World's Fair. This interaction launched Russell's career, connecting the child actor with the king in a memorable cinematic moment.